You keep telling yourself you're lazy, that you just don't have enough discipline, that something must be wrong with you. But what if the story you've been telling yourself isn't true at all? What if your so-called laziness is actually something deeper, something your mind has been trying to say all along? I used to think I was just lazy. Every morning I'd wake up with a list in my head, things I wanted to do, things I should do. But somehow, hours would pass, and I'd do nothing. I'd scroll, overthink, stare at the ceiling. And every night I'd lie in bed thinking, why can't I just get it together? What's wrong with me? For years, I carried this quiet shame, until I learned something that changed everything. What if I told you, laziness isn't your problem? Most people who call themselves lazy are actually overwhelmed, or burnt out, or trapped in patterns their brain created just to cope. There's a word for this: executive dysfunction. It's when the part of your brain responsible for organizing, initiating, and completing tasks just stalls. Not because you're weak, not because you don't care, but because something deeper is happening. Let me give you an example. You open your laptop to pay one bill, just one, but then you see 12 unread emails and tabs from yesterday and a message you forgot to reply to. So you close the laptop. You feel tired, guilty, but you didn't even do anything. And now you're lying on the couch, scrolling on your phone, wondering what's wrong with you. That's not laziness. That's your brain short-circuiting under pressure. It's executive dysfunction, not failure. Here's what's really going on. Your brain runs on dopamine, not just for pleasure, but for motivation. When you're trapped in a loop of scrolling or avoiding, it's because your brain is chasing tiny, fast hits of dopamine, and it starts avoiding anything that feels hard, slow, or risky. Add to that the fear of failure, or the pressure to do it perfectly, and suddenly, even sending an email feels like climbing a mountain. This isn't laziness. This is your nervous system asking for relief. So let's reframe this. Laziness implies apathy. But you care. You're here, listening, reflecting. That's not apathy. That's awareness. You're not lazy. You're human. Sometimes, rest looks like resistance. Sometimes doing nothing is your mind trying to recalibrate. And while shame keeps us stuck, understanding can set us free. So what can you do when it feels like your mind is stuck in mud? Here are 3 small, gentle shifts that might help. First, shrink the task. Instead of clean the whole house, try put one thing away. The smaller the step, the less your brain resists it. It's not about momentum. It's about safety, convincing your mind the mountain is just a pebble. Let's say your place is a mess. Dishes in the sink, clothes everywhere. You keep telling yourself, just clean, just do it. But every time you look around, your body feels heavy. So you grab your phone and disappear into TikTok. An hour passes. You still haven't moved. And now you feel even worse. But what if you told yourself, just pick up the mug? Not the sink, not the kitchen, just the mug. Suddenly, the task isn't a monster. It's manageable. It's kind. It's something you can do. And doing one thing can remind your brain, hey, I'm not stuck. I just needed a place to start. Second, use time, not willpower. Set a 5-minute timer and tell yourself, I only have to try for 5 minutes. Often, starting is the hardest part. Once you begin, the task loses its threat, and you may find yourself continuing without force. Your brain doesn't respond well to force, but it can respond to kindness and structure. So instead of saying, just finish it, try this. I only need to try for 5 minutes. Let's say you've been putting off replying to an important email, not because you don't care, but because it feels loaded, like it's tied to expectations or responsibility or some version of you that you're not ready to be today. So you avoid it. You think about it while cooking. You think about it in the shower. You even add reply to email to your to-do list, but never check it off. But what if you set a timer for just 5 minutes? Just 5. You don't have to finish the reply. You don't have to be brilliant. You just have to show up. Open the laptop, start the draft, type the first 2 lines. That's enough. Because once you start, the weight begins to shift. The fog lifts. And even if you stop after 5 minutes, you've already done the hardest part. You showed your mind it's safe to begin. Third, talk to yourself like someone you love. When your friend says they're struggling, you don't call them lazy. You don't roll your eyes and say, just try harder. You listen, you comfort, you remind them they're doing their best. So why is it so hard to do that for yourself? Let's say you wake up and you already feel behind. The laundry's piling up. The messages are piling up. Your life feels like one big unopened tab. And then that voice shows up. You're a mess. Why can't you just be better? Everyone else seems to handle life just fine. But here's the truth. That voice isn't helping. It's hurting. What if instead you said, I know you're tired. It's okay to start slow. You don't have to do it all today. You're not lazy. You're just carrying a lot. Talk to yourself like someone you love. Because whether or not you feel it today, you are worth kindness. And the way you speak to yourself can become the way you rise. You're not broken. You're not lazy. Your mind just needs to be understood. So the next time you feel stuck, don't shame yourself. Get curious. Ask, what am I afraid of right now? What feels overwhelming? What's one small step I can take? Because growth doesn't come from self-punishment. It comes from compassion and from learning how your mind actually works. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. This channel, Beyond the Mind, is here to explore how our psychology, stories, and humanity intersect. So if you're on a journey of growth, stick around. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to understand ourselves, and that's the beginning of everything.